Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are making a way for our boss to fight back for our scrolling shooter game. So last time we left off with we'd made our enemies and we had fuel. So I can pick up fuel, and when we kill a set amount of enemies, I think it was 10. We should have changed that before we started the video. So we have a sort of much smaller number, but at least we can see the game until then. 8, 9, 10. Our boss comes down, and we can shoot the boss and kill it, obviously, but we have no way of the boss fighting back, which obviously doesn't make our game very fun. Um, so we're going to make two ways for our boss to fight back. We'll have a burst attack with multiple projectiles coming out at once, and we'll have a wave attack where the projectiles go from side to side. The first step is we need to make a way for our game to be able to tell between what projectiles are our projectiles and what projectiles come from the enemies. So this is just all the code we had. Whoops, all the code we had last time. So we've got our fuel, our enemies and boss, and our projectiles are here. So if I zoom in on our projectile code, so we've got this on A button pressed. What we're going to do is go into sprites, scroll down to get this set my sprite kind, and we'll set the projectile kind. We'll make a new kind called ally projectile. So set projectile kind to ally projectile. And then we'll go into our projectile overlap code, which is these on sprite of kind projectile, and we'll change wherever it says projectile to ally projectile. This is just so our game can tell our projectiles and the enemy's projectiles apart. So we need to do this on when it overlaps an enemy and when it overlaps the boss. So make sure you do both of these, or else your game won't work. Now that we've done that, I'm just going to close all this code down so we have sort of a blank slate to work with. So we're going to make two things. Number one is we'll make a function for our burst attack, and then we'll make our shooting code, which will have our wave attack code in it. So the first thing we're going to do is make our burst attack. So if we scroll down and go into advanced and grab out functions, click make a function, and I'm going to call it burst attack, and click on done. And we now have this block where we can define the function, so we can say what the function will do, and then whenever we want to run this function, so whenever we want to do the code in this block, we can just use this call burst attack, and we can put that wherever we want. So inside our function, we are going to make a loop which will repeat the code. So in loops, down here, we'll grab this for index from 0 to 4. And we'll change it from 4 to 3. So we're going to have 6 projectiles come out. So each time it loops, it will make 2 projectiles. So we'll have 6 in total. If we go into logic and grab this if-else block-in, and then also in logic, grab out this less than symbol here, and flip it around so it's a greater than symbol, and then drag index into here. So if index is greater than 0, this means it will just skip the first time this runs, because 0 to 3 will actually run 4 times, so 0, 1, 2, 3. But we only want it to run 3 times on 1, 2, and 3, so we'll skip 0. Oh, we don't do this. And then now we're going to make it sort of shoot out our projectile. So if we go into variables, we're going to make a new one, and I'm just going to call it x. You can call it whatever you want, but that's what I'll do. We'll go set x to, then in math, we'll get this multiply one here, and we'll set x to index times 10. So it'll be 10 on the first time, then 20 on the next one, then 30 on the next one. Then we'll go into sprites, scroll down to this projectile, and then we'll make it projectile from my boss. And we'll quickly draw a projectile, which usually I do before the video, but I forgot to do. So we'll quickly make one now. There you go, there's a little projectile. And our projectile will go with Vx, and we'll put our x variable in there. And in Vy, we'll go into math and grab out this minus here. And we'll do 60 minus x, just like that. So projectile from my boss with x and 60 minus x. The next thing we'll do is copy this, so we have it twice. And then in math, we just need this multiply one. And in Vx, instead of x, we're going to have x times -1. We'll see that there. So we have x and 60 minus x. Then we have x times -1 and 60 minus x. So this will make the sprites come out in a sort of burst pattern. So we'll see that when we get to our boss in a second. And the next step is going to loops again, and for value of list, grab that out, zoom in a bit, there we are. For value of list, and in list, we're going to go into sprites and get this array of all sprites, put it there, and change player to projectile. And then we'll go into sprites again, scroll down to set kind, drag value where it says my sprite, and then we'll make a new kind for it called enemy projectile. So what it's going to do is it's going to set out our spray of 6 sprites, 6 projectiles, and they'll each go on a different angle. That's what this code here does. And then it's going to set all of those to an enemy projectile, so our game can tell them apart. Because otherwise we'll have the problem of our boss will kill the enemy sprites. So that's not what we want, obviously. We want to have to fight both. So there's our burst done. So I'll put that off to the side. And our next step is to make the loop that will do our spray attack. I'll show you what the burst looks like real quick. The burst comes out like that. So that's what we'll be doing. That's what we've just done here. So now we're going to make our wave attack. So if you go to loops and grab out a forever block, and in this block we'll go into loops again, get this while. So it will say while, we use the boss alive variable here, while boss is alive, it will, in loops, pause for 2 seconds, do our burst attack, pause for 2 seconds again, and then this is where we'll put our wave attack. We'll put it under this. So the boss will come out, it will do its burst, wait 2 seconds, then do the wave, wait 2 seconds, do the burst again, wait 2 seconds, do the wave. So we have a nice sort of pattern, and our boss isn't boring to fight. There's different attacks it can do, and just makes it more of a challenge. So the first thing we're going to do is make 2 variables. One is called wave direction. Oops. One is called wave direction, and one is called angle. Well, angle. So we're going to set wave direction to true, and we're going to set angle to 50. There we are. Next, we're going to go into loops again and get this while block again. And we're going to go while wave direction. It's just another way of saying while wave direction is true. So it's true at the start, so we'll do this first. So while wave direction is true, if boss alive, so if the boss is alive, then it will, we can actually just copy this code here. Close it. Alright, let's grab this again. We can delete these. So it will set the projectile from my boss, and we want this to be Vy is 50, and in Vx we will put our angle variable. And then next we'll go into sprites again, and we'll get out this set kind. And this is again just making sure the game knows that this is an enemy projectile. So it knows that these should damage us and not damage our boss. Then we're going to go into click on this plus, so we have else, then go into loops and get break. What this is doing is it's saying if the boss isn't alive, it will stop shooting, because otherwise the boss will die and our game will keep shooting the sprites, which wouldn't work. So we want this code to stop if the boss is dead. Then we're going to go into variables and get this change angle by -10, and in loops pause for 300. 300 seemed to be a good amount for me. You can always change this. You can also change how often the attacks come out. It's really up to you. You can change the order. Up to you. So we'll pause 300 milliseconds. Then go into logic. Grab this if block out. Logic again. This equals block. Then if the angle is less than -40, then it will variables set wave direction to true. Oh, sorry, set wave direction to false. False. Actually, that's false, because this is true here. So it will set the wave direction to false, which will stop this from repeating. Next, I'm going to make my boss do the burst attack again. I think that'd be kind of cool. So we'll do a burst, then a wave, then a burst. So I'll put this down here. That's another pause for 2 seconds, do the burst again, pause for 2 seconds. And then I'm going to copy paste this code down to here. And now we're just going to make the same code go in the opposite direction. So first we're going to go into logic, and we're going to change this so it's while wave direction equals false. It's the first step before changing it over. The next step is to change this from -10 to 10. Then we change this from -40 to 40, and switch the sign around. Don't forget to do that, because otherwise it won't work. And then we'll change the wave direction to true. So there we go. Our boss now will do his attacks. So there we go. we can look at this in our game now. Actually, I'll change. Which one is it? This one. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly change this so we can see it easier. Alright, so now when our boss comes in, at first we'll do a wave attack, which we can dodge in the middle. Then does a burst attack, sorry. Then does a wave attack. Oh, burst attack. Wave attack. Well, I died because I didn't get the fuel. But there you go. Those are the attacks our boss does. So this is the code we've made. And our next and final step is to make it so our boss damages us when we get hit by its projectiles. So if you go into sprites and into this on sprite of kind player overlaps other sprite, we're changing it to enemy projectile hits the player. Then we go to info, get change life by -1, so you lose 1 life. And in sprites, we'll get this destroy. So we'll destroy the projectile, so destroy sprite, and change our life by -1. So now let's have a quick playthrough of our game, which I think is basically done. So we have our projectiles, our fuel, our enemies. When we get to a certain point threshold, we have our boss who comes down, big and scary. We have to, we lose lives if we get hit by the bullets. We have to collect the fuel. Oh, 1 life now. Oh no, and I lose. But you get the idea. That's basically our game. Oh, yeah, well, I guess, never mind. That's basically it. Your game is done. You have a space scrolling shooter. So I hope you guys have all had fun making this, as much as I have making the videos for it. And I hope your games are challenging enough. Mine's definitely challenging, seeing as I keep dying. So, hope you guys had fun, and I'll see if I can beat this before the video ends. There we go. Nice. Oh, I've changed my code so that my boss comes in at a weird time, but you get the idea. Either you can have it so your boss keeps coming until you die, or you can make it when you destroy the boss you can win. So just feel free to mess around with your code and see what you can figure out. If I open all this up for us, that's all the code we've made. So we've made a lot of progress through this. So hope you've all had fun, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.